Hey guys, this is Kill Lancer. Want to know Kill Lancer Gaming? Don't forget the bell button, subscribe button to get a notification to my channel. Alright guys, I came up with a new segment for my channel called the Silent Heroes segment. Do they work? That's the big question at hand. Do they work? We're going to be asking the tough questions that normally people probably wouldn't ask. I really want to give a lot of thought to this series because I thought it'd be something fun to do when it comes down to this right here. Most likely we're going to touch on Borderlands, what is it, from 1 to 3, but also we're going to be touching on the Telltale game just a little bit, using some examples from that, but also Borderlands, the pre-sequel, as a basis too for some examples. So guys, bear in mind, this is my opinion when it comes down to Silent Heroes, my likes and my dislikes about them as well. And how some of these characteristics can be bad to a game, can be good to a game in some sense. So let's dive right into this. So Borderlands 1 opens up with an announcer telling you about the Vault Hunters, which is the customizable characters that they show in a funny drawing, as he is talking about after everything is like said and done and taking place within the world as you play through the adventure. The introduction gets you pretty much hyped up to play the game and stuff like that. These characters grew up with each other, which is the cool part. So you would expect them to have some type of background and more. However, I was wrong about that. But anyway, now all of y'all get off the bus in the first part of the game. If you're playing with your friend or playing by yourself, Claptrap is there basically leading you to the town. None of the main characters are talking. They're just following them. No background, no chatter. But if you jump, you can jump, punch, and if you get hurt, you can hear the sound effects of your characters. But also, if you're using their special abilities, you can also hear the sound effects and hear their voices during the special abilities. For me, this is kind of this kind of like took me out of the game when I played it for the Xbox 360 during the time I bought it when it first came out. It just pulls you out of the experiences because you see all these dope characters, you see all the dope heroes in the game, and you want to know more about the characters. They seem like a likable bunch of cast members, and you want to know their history. That can open you up to their struggles within the game story. That's just personally what I think. Here's how the issues could have been fixed for story pacing to keep gamers interested in the characters and also keep them hooked up into the story plot. And that is having bios for the characters. I think it's really important, number one, to have bios for the characters to know what the characters are about. You want to know their history. You want to know everything to know about the characters. You want to understand why they're doing this or not. Even though in the introduction, the announcer explains just little tad bits of it and whatnot, and it kind of seemed kind of vague to me and whatnot. They could have did like some type of videotapes, like within Borderlands, they had video recordings of some of these characters, within the story talking and what they're going to do, or some of the characters died already, and you're getting like brief like introductions to these characters and stuff like that, which I found that was cool. And I just wish that they did it for the Vault Hunters and stuff like that. You finding particular video clips, voice clips and stuff like that, so we can know more about them. And then we're going to touch on part 2. We'll touch on part 2 on the list. Cinematics with custom characters. What is it? The cinemas with the custom characters. We could have had something like that implemented, which I thought would have been fine. But they didn't do that in this particular game. If they would have did cinematics with these characters talking, it would have been fine. We get like a gist of their attitudes and stuff like that instead of hearing like stuff like that. That kind of like put me out of the game by not seeing cinematics with these characters, even though like you customize their outer looks and stuff. But you could have added, they could have added like some type of cinematics, like of them rolling on the ground or them talking, conversing with each other, having conversations about the struggles that they're going through. Searching for these vaults to find the ultimate treasure to make them rich and famous, stuff like that. I just thought cinematics could have worked with this game. Rather if you're playing with friends or not playing with friends and whatnot, these characters are with each other through the whole entire adventures, and they're friends, like I said before, like a family. So we're going to touch on bases 3. If you're playing a game with other people, characters talk to each other during battle or when you're out and about in the world, giving us more info on them. Now, I would have liked if the characters would have been conversating with each other through the struggles that they're going through. And the thing is, I know that when you're playing by yourself, those characters not around, but I think this should be implemented when you're playing with party members and whatnot. I think that would have been cool, so you can understand like how they feel about certain situations and choices that they're making on the adventure, which will pull you more into the story and more into the world by them doing this right there. When I played this game, like I'm like, wow, like one moment I'm like, oh man, this is a good game. Then I'm like, it's tedious. I'm doing this over and over again without any cause, of why I'm doing this and why these characters are experiencing this. I want to be submerged in the story when I'm picking these characters. I want to feel like I'm these characters in the struggle and stuff like that. And that's how I view and play games and whatnot. And when you have a Sonic hero, it kind of makes that difficult to submerge yourself into the game to an extent. Okay. Now we're going to be talking about part 4 on the list, which is answering Claptrap's many of questions and laughing at his crazy moments. With those characters, intertwining with Claptrap as to get more descriptive with it. You're going on this adventure with Claptrap. Claptrap is pretty much like your voice in the game. I guess you can say it like that. And he's a funny character. You want to see the main characters interacting with him is because he's a part of the team too. He's with you through the struggle. He's with you there throughout almost the whole entire game. He's helping you with subquests. He's playing around. He's doing like little silly things. And the thing is, like, these, as you're playing through part 1, none of the characters are reacting to his crazy antics, but me, the viewer, outside of the game, I'm like, oh, this guy's an idiot. This guy's this and that, blah 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 blah. Like, yeah, I'm doing that, but I want to see how my character is feeling. I want to hear how he's feeling, or he or she, whoever I'm playing as in the game. Okay, now we're going to talk about part 5 on the list. Okay, so that's like when you get to near the end of the game, where everything is wrapping up at the end of the game, which I found that was a problem. Where you beat the game, you got the little small cinematic and whatnot, like like the whole drawing thing and stuff like that. No, you don't really know what your characters are doing after that point. Usually every game, when you beat a game, it always has like an aftermath thing, like I guess like an epilogue or whatever you want to call it. And they're showing like, what they're doing, after these adventures. Like, where's their life going? Like, what do they plan to do? What are they going to do? To give us more of a I want to say like a backlog or something like that. So something that's going to just break the chain. Something that's going to just add up after this adventure. Something that's going to tally up after this adventure, like through their trials and tribulations and stuff like that. Like them coming to a conclusion of their life and their adventures. That's how I see when I play as characters in games or whatnot. I want to see that even in their endings as well. But they didn't implement that. But that's fine. That's fine that they didn't do it and whatnot. I mean, people enjoy the game otherwise. All right. And the crazy thing is about that is like you don't get a sense of these characters relationship after all this and stuff. It's like they go their own separate ways after that. And I didn't like that pretty much. Now, as for Borderlands 2, the thing is, like, the game starts off as pretty much like the same rendition of Borderlands 1. You got the introduction, these people want to be vault hunters and all that other good stuff. And the thing is, spoiler alert, the characters from Borderlands 1, for the most part, was created a resistance against Handsome Jack and his crazy behind doggone goons. Another time again, because basically you never kill him at the end of at the end of part 1. You just really messed them up really bad. But the cool thing is on Borderlands 2, you get to see what happens to the previous characters on the first game. I think this game is like 2 to 3 years later, I think, after the events of Borderlands 1. So you get to see my man Mordecai and Bloodwing. They're chilling. They're they're at an outpost and whatnot. Guards at an outpost, they watching and seeing these crazy behind doggone raiders is coming across a certain border and stuff like that. Lilith and her man Roland creates a resistance team. I can't remember the name of the group and stuff like that. I think they're called the Raiders or something. I can't remember. But those two get together, but they break up. So they has like some type of relationship with together. And then Brick winds up having his own, I guess, type of bandit type of place and stuff like that. And you get a chance to meet him, team up with him and stuff like that. You team up with all the Borderlands characters from the previous one. And this game more so shows you, I guess, the aftermath of their lives and stuff like that. But I would have liked them to show that on part one. Like, what were they doing at the end of part one, opposed to getting all this on part two? To give more of a conclusion, to their ending of part one. As I was just, saying, a few moments ago and stuff like that. But it was fine. So now you get introduced to these other characters. Like I said, it's just like the first one. And you're going through all these different types of adventures with them and so forth and so on and blah, 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 blah. The gameplay was spectacular in this game. And I found it very interesting that that these characters that you're meeting in this adventure, some of these characters are a lot older than what they were in the previous rendition of Borderlands 1 and stuff like that. So you're teaming up with older people too as well, like that you got missions by in the previous game, which that is really freaking cool. As for Borderlands, the Telltale game, now I'm going to use that as, I guess, kind of an example. I want to use that as somewhat of an example when it comes down to story. I think it's a phenomenal way to implement all this and stuff like that. To give you a breakdown of the Telltale game and stuff like that. The Telltale game is more so after. I want to say is after the second game. Is after the second game, and pretty much you get a chance to be this character. I think his name is Reen or something like that. He comes from Hyperion. He comes from outer space and stuff like that. He lands was in the world and stuff like that. And he come across some of the Borderlands 2 characters, which I found that was cool. And this Telltale games are heavily story driven, and I would have liked to have seen this throughout Borderlands 1 and 2. I thought that would have been perfect, because the thing is, like, when you see the characters in Borderlands, a Telltale game, you start to fall in love with these characters and the struggle that they're going through, because you're with them every step of the way and you're seeing their reactions and stuff like that. You're not just playing as them, you're seeing their reactions and what they're going through. And that's what I want to see in Borderlands game, even though we know Borderlands games are looter shooter type games. But for me, in my opinion, I prefer to have games that are story driven too as well, not just looting and just killing stuff randomly and stuff. I gotta have a reason to why stuff is being done. Now we're going to touch bases on the pre-sequel. I'm not so much mad at the pre-sequels, because the pre-sequel was about Handsome Jack. It's about Handsome Jack and the characters within that world. What is this? Athena. Then you got two other characters in Claptrap, because Claptrap is the main character too. So it gives you some backstory on Claptrap as well, and it shows you how Handsome Jack had got power of Hyperion. And so throughout the games, you're going through all the struggles and tribulations with Handsome Jack and stuff like that. So it gives you like a large backstory of him, and that's what I found amazing about the pre-sequel. So I really wasn't too mad at the Silent Hero segments within that game throughout the whole entire game. However, there was a character that you fought on Borderlands 1 who was a main character in the pre-sequel, and I thought that was cool. It was Handsome Jack's ex-girlfriend in the game. So I thought that aspect was pretty cool. The game starts off with Athena. She's tied up by the Crimson Raiders. That's the name of the team. Tied up by the Crimson Raiders, and Lilith got her at gunpoint and whatnot. And then she starts coming into the story and telling her how this all begins. So pretty much, this is like, I want to say like probably how when she got caught. It's probably after Borderlands 1, but she's going back in the past and telling the events of before Borderlands 1. And I was impressed with the cinematics and stuff. Now, as for Borderlands 3, I'm in love with that game. Borderlands 3 is amazing. These cast of characters are cool. And the reason why they're so cool to me is because I know their backstory. They gave me a reason to love these characters. They gave me a reason. Each character had their own videos of their backstory and stuff. So it gave me an investment it gave me an investment with these characters and stuff like that, and why they're doing what they're doing within this world and stuff like that. And that's the cool thing about Borderlands 3. But also, Borderlands 3, your characters talk in the game. And I think that's cool. We're interacting with Borderlands 1 and 2 characters and the characters from the Telltale game. And also the characters are interacting with each other. And that's what I like to play. So when you play multiplayer, your characters are talking to each other and having little sidebar conversations. That's what I wanted to see in Borderlands 1 and 2. And if they added in the pre-sequel, that would have been even better too. But I'm very impressed with Borderlands 3, and I think the gameplay makes it even better and stuff. But I have been hearing that people said Borderlands 3 storyline wasn't that good. So far, it's coming along pretty good for me. But I'm waiting for those parts that everybody is talking about, so I can make my own opinion and judgment on it for myself. Okay, so I'm going to be showing little gameplay clips with me and my friends later on down the line, us enjoying Borderlands 3. And as you know, I picked Maz. Maz has a mecha character called the Iron Bear. And as you guys know, I love mechs in the game. But we're going to answer this question. Did Silent Heroes work for this franchise? No, it didn't work for this franchise. Personally, to me, it didn't work for this franchise. Personally, it pulled me out of story multiple times. And what really made me play the game was my friends. My friends more so played the game a lot, so I purchased the game to play with my friends, and I grew a love for the game because of the combat system. And that's probably more so what grabs people is the combat, not the story and stuff like that. But I'm a story driven person. And I like stories and reasons to why I'm doing stuff in games, and that's just my personal opinion and whatnot. But Borderlands 3 is a solid game, and I'm very impressed with this game, and I can't wait till the DLC comes out for this game because I will be playing it as well. But guys, let me know in the comment section below of what you think about Silent Heroes and what you think about this video. Don't forget to give it a like too as well. Don't forget the bell button and subscribe button to get the notifications to my channel. Okay guys, it's Keolancer, and we got more Silent Heroes here.